Welcome to the Your Life Rocks podcast, where we believe life balance is possible. Yes, even for you. This show is designed to help working moms focus on the things that matter most in life and helping you balance all that life has for you with practical tips from one working mom to another. My name is Jenny Stemmerman, and I am so glad that you're here to hang out with me today, because today it's just me and you hanging out. Now, I feel like we have been moving through so much learning the last few weeks. Like, it's been really good, but it's been a lot. And I've gotten a lot of your feedback that you really have loved the guests that we've had on, you've loved the topics, but we've been through so much. And so I thought it'd be good for us just to come together, bring all of the things that we've been learning together, and actually move forward in applying all of these things to our lives. We want them to sink in and to take roots, because it's great to learn new things. It's great to be motivated and inspired, but every once in a while, you just have to hit like the pause button and start to apply some things to your life. Otherwise, it's like, yay, that's really great information in one ear, out the other. And that's not what I want this podcast to be for you. I want this podcast to be a place that you can come, get the information, get the inspiration, put it into action, and actually see traction in your life. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this episode, how to close all of those loops. Because here's the thing, if you have this intention of wanting more in your life, you have this intention of having this desire inside of you of wanting to do more, be more, of having it more together, clearing some of the chaos, but you're not actually doing the action to get there, it gets really frustrating really, really fast. Because we can start to feel behind, and then that's when the guilt starts to kick in, and it's horrible. And I don't want that for me, and I certainly don't want that for you. Now, if you are new to the show, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you found us. We just finished a series on stress, and then we went into a series about creating the homes that we long for. We talked about cleaning, organizing, homekeeping type stuff. And then last week we were talking about career stuff. Like, that's a lot, right? But really, if I think about it, that's really our lives as a working mom. Like, there's so many things, all of the things that we're trying to balance, trying to juggle all of the time. And if you're in all of those things without some organization and moments to just breathe, well, friends, that's where all of the negativity breeds. That's where we start to think balance is just not possible for me. This stuff can't work for me, because we were not meant to go 24/7, full hustle all of the time. Every once in a while, we need to stop. We need to breathe. We need to apply the things that we're learning. We need to appreciate and have gratitude for where we are and all the blessings around us. Now, if you are new to this show, I want you to know, here at Your Life Rocks, we are all about taking away that negative. We want you to be focusing on the good, on the blessings, and helping you create more balance in your life. And I know we have a lot of new listeners out there. So if that's you, hello, I'm glad you're here. Lately, the download numbers are going up and up. So thank you to everyone that has been sharing the show, whether it's on social media, sharing with your coworkers, your friends. You've left a review for us because that helps other people find us. Or you've downloaded the app. Like, it means the world to me. And I can really see that we are starting to touch more people's lives, which is incredible. So thank you so, so very much. And by the way, before we get into our topic today, I should let you know that this episode is sponsored by the Your Life Rocks mobile app. You can download it for free in iTunes or Google Play. Inside, you will have access to our free weekly success planning course, your weekly prep planning tool, all of the podcasts, and so much more. And in a few weeks, I'll be adding in a new course, the Holiday Sanity course, because the holidays are fast approaching, and I want to make sure we're all prepared to have a little sanity, to actually appreciate the reason for the season this year. And I know you're not going to want to miss that, so go and get the app. And if you are ready to really get started and make a noticeable difference in your life, you can upgrade inside of the app to Life Balance Membership and start your free 7-day trial. That's a new feature to the app where we're able to include that free 7-day trial. It's kind of like life coaching, but it's designed for working moms, and it's only $9.99 a month. You can't get life coaching for $9.99 a month. So go ahead and download it today. And actually, did you know, speaking of what we're talking about today and helping to clear and simplify and close those loops, you can go right out of your podcast app that you're listening to right now, go into the App Store and download it while I'm talking to you. You do not even have to leave the show. Pretty cool, right? Now, that's one less thing that you have to add to your to-do list or think about doing later. Unless you really like crossing things off of your to-do list, then, you can write it down and cross it off and get the satisfaction of knowing that you did something productive and good for you today. I do that sometimes when I'm working on bigger projects and I don't get to mark off a lot of completed things throughout my day because my OCD brain just loves to mark things as complete. So I'll do like little things and write it down in my book because, sometimes you have those days where it's like you're working on just like 2 or 3 bigger projects and it takes all day. And so you don't really get that satisfaction of marking things done. So anyway, I'm kind of crazy that way though. Okay, back to our topic. Ladies, this has been on my mind simmering for weeks. It's just been there. I've been praying about it, thinking through it. Now, a few weeks back, we had Jenny Walsh on the show, and she was talking to us about the habits that create the mess in our house, because that's why it gets messy, is because we have our bad habits. Our family has their bad habits. We get into these rhythms of life and, we leave coffee cups around. We leave clothes on the floor. They're habits that we have. And these habits, they create overwhelm. And it was such a huge light bulb moment for me, I'll be honest. She talked about finishing a loop or closing a loop. And one of the examples that she gave was a cup of coffee. If you want to have a cup of coffee, you get out of the cup from the cupboard. You get out all of the things that you need to make your coffee, like the grounds, or for me, I use like the little plastic Keurig, like the refillable Keurig cups. So I get those out. I get the coffee out. I make the coffee. I put away all the other supplies. I drink the coffee, wash the cup, and put it away. The loop is complete and ready to do the next day. Nothing is left undone. Now, when she was giving this as an example, I was thinking, I am always leaving my coffee cup in the bathroom or in my office or on the kitchen counter or wherever. And some days I leave the coffee out, or I leave, like the extra Keurig out, or the dirty Keurig from the day before out on the counter. I don't close those loops. And so it leaves a mess in the kitchen that I then have to come and clean up later. Like, it just made so much sense to me. And as much as I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to start doing this with my coffee. And this is just a little example with the coffee. But I was like, that just doesn't fit for me to like wash the cup when I'm done with it and put it away. Like, I don't really wash dishes by hand. I'm always running. If I try to do that, I would probably break it because I'm just in such a hurry to get things done and move on to the next thing. And then it dawned on me, like, we talk about defining balance. However we want to define balance, I can decide how I close that loop as long as for me it's closed. So now I've decided once it's in the dishwasher, loop is closed. So as long as the dishwasher always gets emptied when it's done and it's ready for all the dirty stuff to go in it, my dirty coffee cup doesn't go on the bathroom counter anymore. It gets rinsed out in the sink, put in the dishwasher. Loop is now closed. I've made it work for me. And that's the whole point of everything we're talking about on this show. Everything that you'll find inside of Life Balance, you got to make it work for you. I share what works for me. I share what works with our guests, and they educate us. And I hope that it causes you to really think for yourself and to decide what is going to work for you. Because the only thing that's actually going to work for you long-term are the things that are going to work for you. And if you try to make things work for you that work for other people, but it's such a struggle for you, it's going to be harder to maintain over a long period of time. And chances are you probably won't. And I want you to have lasting effects, because as soon as you master one thing, then you can grow and master other things. And that's the whole point of this whole thing, right? So just a little food for thought. But anyway, back to the whole point. Little bunny trail. So I've been thinking about this whole idea of closing the loop so much. And the more I keep thinking about it, and in my prayer time, I keep thinking, what other loops are left undone in my life? Like, this applies to so much more than just keeping a clean home. What other things do I start and leave open that are causing stress or anxiety or clutter in my mind or clutter in my life? And I know that this is like a big and vague topic, so bear with me. But I felt compelled to share it with you. The more I've been thinking about it and praying about it, I kept thinking, this is such a huge light bulb moment for me. It might be a huge light bulb moment for you or someone else out there who's listening. I just feel like whenever God places this on my heart, that it is meant for someone. So it might be meant for you. So we all have these areas of our life, right? Like the 8 areas of life that we're always talking about, right? Now, this is where you're going to want to grab your notebook because I'm going to walk you through an exercise to see what open loops that you might have, what things you might need to look at, pray about, and close those loops or just throw them away and to make a conscious decision not to even look at them anymore. Okay, so if you have your notebook out, if you're driving or whatever, you can come back to this exercise later. I want you to write out all 8 areas of your life: faith, marriage, parenting, career, health, financial, home, and friends and fun. Okay, got them all in your notebook. Awesome. Next, I want you to think about what is undone. What goals or unrealized, what dreams have you not started into, what tasks are not yet complete? And this is not going to be one of those easy things that you can complete in like 30 seconds or even a couple minutes. Like when you do our weekly success planning and we talk about like designing the life that you want to live and how you want to feel, like you can complete that generally in like 15, 20 minutes. The more you do it, like I do it like every single 6 months, go back through that exercise, I can now complete it in about 10 minutes because it's part of my routine. So it's easier for me. This is not going to be one of those things. I'm just going to say that right here. This is going to be one of those things that you're really going to need to marinate on, to really think about and let it get deep inside your soul. Because I've been thinking about this for a couple weeks now, and more things keep coming up. Now, if you're doing the life balance system, we talk about really focusing in on those different areas of your life, different weeks. Like we have a system around that, so it seems less overwhelming. You could apply that same philosophy. My members out there who know what I'm talking about, you could apply that same philosophy to this exercise. And maybe we'll do this as part of our group coaching for Life Balance members in November. I was going to do something else, but if this is a value to you, let me know, send me an email, and we might just do this as part of our group coaching. Because I think that it's so beneficial. I think that it's so freeing to be able to do this exercise to get some clarity, to create some more simplicity in our complicated lives, okay? But it does take a little bit to think about and to go through and to process this. So I just want to put that out there. If you feel like you're struggling with this, it's normal. I want to give you that grace right now. It is normal to struggle with this kind of an exercise, okay? Because here's the thing. The things that are undone, these silent little things that we carry around in our heads and in our hearts, they have this way of weighing us down and making life hard without us even realizing it. You know, I say this all of the time, but sometimes we need to bring this kind of stuff in our life, these things, out into the light and see them for what they really are, because it takes away their power to cause that overwhelm, to cause that anxiety and stress when we have it just kind of floating around in our head. Because sometimes we don't even realize that it's floating around in our head, but it's this unclosed loop, it's unfinished business that we are just carrying into every single thing that we do. And it causes so much exhaustion, both mentally and emotionally and all the way down the line. Now, as you're doing this exercise, some of the things that come up for you, they might be really small things, like teeny tiny things that you're like, this isn't even a big deal. Why haven't I dealt with this already? Or they might be big things. And you might not have hardly anything for one area of your life, and you might have a lot in another area of your life because you haven't been giving it attention, the attention that it needs. And this is the big thing, as I would encourage you to just spend some time journaling these things out, praying about it, thinking about it. And like I said, it might take you a long time, but once you just do it, maybe set a timer just for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. If you have like a daily, like a morning routine or something where you have like prayer journal time, maybe just take like one area of life or list them all out and then just see what naturally comes to you and just let it freely flow. But once you have journaled out a few things, this is a good time to pause and just to pray about the things that have come up. Maybe go for a walk to clear your head and let God really speak to you. Speak into the situation, speak into the things that you've journaled, because some of these things that came up for you, you might just come to peace with letting them go and deciding, this is like something I've had as like a dream or an expectation or an intention that I don't even know why I originally wanted this to be in my life, or to have this financial goal or have this expectation on my marriage or who I am as a mom. It's something I could probably just let go of. And you can ask God to help you release that and just let it go. And other things you might find that you're really convicted to take action on and to finish the loop like right away. just to say, you know what, I'm done dealing with this. We're just taking care of it now. Because some of the stuff, it can be so silly when you start to think about, what do I need to do to close the loop? It can be the simplest, smallest things that you're like, why in the world is it taking me so long to do this? Because we make a way of making things hard and complex. That's why. So once you have those things identified, it's a lot easier to do them. Okay, so I'm going to share with you two things just as an example, and there's a lot more that I have identified as I've been doing this for the last couple weeks, but these are the two I want to share with you. One is easy and it's simple, okay? So when I started my job back in January and I decided to add it to do what I'm already doing, for those of you who don't know, my husband and I, we own two businesses together, and I left the corporate world a few years ago, and he was a stay-at-home dad, and I left my corporate position to help support him in starting these businesses and get them off the ground. And essentially, I was working for my husband for a couple of years, and then an opportunity came about for me to re-enter the whole corporate world, and it was kind of a hard decision to make because it was like, I am working, we're providing for the family, but it's just different. It's very scary to be out there on your own and not working corporately. And it was a flexible position, doing something that I really like. And I thought, you know what? I think we'll do it. We'll take the leap and we'll give it a shot, and I'll go back into working a traditional job. And one of the reasons why we did that is because we wanted to travel more. Like, we had these goals and these dreams and the things that we wanted to do, right? And one of my personal intentions in it was to invest more in my marriage, to have more date nights and weekends away, because it's so easy, you guys, it's so easy to say we're busy. It's so easy to say we can't afford it or we'd rather spend the money on something else. But I mean, if you think about it, like a trip to Target, sometimes you like randomly spend the same amount of money you would spend like on a date night. And then you're like, oh, we can't afford a date night. Well, you can afford to go to Target. So, there's that. Well, even with setting that as an intention of doing the date nights, having some weekends away, we still weren't doing it. We still weren't doing it. I mean, we went away last March. That was like 7 months ago. And it was for a research trip for one of our businesses. Now, I had no idea how exhausting it was for me to be carrying this thought around in the back of my mind. I was always telling myself, we need to plan our next getaway. We need to go away somewhere. We need to plan a date night. We need to do something together. It was always there. Now, if I go back to all of my 90-day planning sheets from the Life Balance System, under marriage, it's there. More date nights, have a weekend away, get away with my spouse. Like, it's always coming up. But yet I wasn't completing the loop. And so it was weighing me down, and it felt like these tasks that I needed to do and that they weren't getting done. And it was just there. Well, last week, as I was praying about this and kind of thinking about this for my marriage area, this is what came up for me. And I was like, this is ridiculous that we haven't closed this loop yet. So we scheduled 2 days that he is off of work. I took the days off of my work, and we rented an Airbnb, and we're going to be gone for 2 days together. So it's scheduled. It's done. Now I can move on. And I feel like a ton of weight has been lifted from me. And I feel like just in that small act, I've kind of completed my 90-day goal for my marriage. Like, there's still other things I want to accomplish in my last 90 days of the year. But for the most part, this is one I've been carrying around all year. And it took like not very long to plan it out and just make it happen. So there you go. Now, the second one, it's not as easy and as simple. It's something I've been talking about and honestly procrastinating about and making it a lot more complex than it needs to be. And if I'm honest, I do this with so much stuff in my life, you guys. I can overcomplicate things so much. And when I do that, it makes it so much harder for me to actually get traction in that area of my life, to actually reach the goals that I want to reach. It's like I'm sabotaging myself by burying myself in all of the things that I need to do. And I'm talking about my health. Seriously, like, if you've been listening to this show for any period of time, you know how many health experts have I had on the show? How many podcasts have I listened to? Well, you guys might not know how many podcasts I've listened to about it, or audiobooks, or the real books that I've read. But I've really been devoting so much of my time and my energy into wanting to lose weight. I have about 15 to 20 pounds that I really want to get off. And it's been like a goal forever. Now, I used to be a weight loss counselor like years ago before I switched careers. And after I switched careers, I've worked for health and wellness companies, yet here I am. I know exactly what to do to get the weight to go away, yet am I doing it? Absolutely not. I'm not. Like I say I am, but I'm not actually doing what I know I need to do. Now, it's going to take time for me to close this loop. If we count the loop as getting rid of the weight, hitting my goal weight is closed loop, then that's going to take a long time. And if we're honest, really, there's like maintenance, there's like, all of the other stuff. So it's going to be a long loop to close. But I am choosing to say that I'm going to be closing this loop by committing to a path and not wavering from it. It's a proven path that I know works for me. It's one that I can do. I know I can do it. It's simple. It fits into my lifestyle. Yet I've been so resistant to doing it because I'm like committed to making things more complicated than they really need to be. I don't know if it's an issue of that makes it seem more worthwhile or what, but I'm done with it. I'm closing the loop and I'm going to do it. Done. Decision made. Sometimes we just need to make that decision and say, you're not allowed to go back on this one. Yes, we can choose to change our mind whenever we want to, but sometimes we need to choose not to choose to change our mind. We need to stay on the path, and that's what I'm doing. I'm choosing to stay on the path. So here's my question for you. What are you leaving unfinished in your life? What do you need to do to close some of those loops and actually move on, to actually grow from it and do it and let it not take up space in your mind anymore? I just really want to encourage you to do the exercise that I've outlined in this episode. I will be praying for you. I know that sounds weird to say it so generally because there are hundreds of you out there listening to this, which I just think is amazing. But I do. I pray every single time before I hit record on this podcast. I pray for you. I pray that this finds you in the right spot. I pray that it finds the right ears that need to hear the message. I pray that God would put the right words in my mouth to speak into this microphone. Now, if you have something in particular, something you've been struggling with, something that you're going through, and you need very specific prayer, I hope you know you can always reach out. We have a closed Facebook group for listeners of the show. You can always post your prayer requests in there, or you can always email me directly or send me a message on Instagram. If you send me a message on Facebook, chances are I will never see it because Facebook Messenger and I just do not get along. I'm going to try to embrace it, but I just don't get along with it very well. But Instagram, totally fine with. My email, jenny@yourliferocks.com. Super simple, easy. There you go. Facebook group is always there. And there are some amazing prayer warriors in that group. So I highly encourage. You don't have to wait for a prompt. You don't have to wait for a post or for me to ask, like, who needs prayer? If you need prayer, just say, hey guys, could you pray for me? I have this coming up today, or I'm struggling in this area, or this is what I'm walking through right now. Will you walk with me? When we talk about balance at Your Life Rocks, we talk about three main pillars, right? Number one is living life for God. But I truly believe that when we're thinking about balance, we're thinking about peace, we're thinking about clearing away this mental garbage that we're carrying around with, all of that seems like it's so hard, that it's so impossible, right? And that's where you hear people say balance is not possible as a working mom. But I choose to believe that if we truly put God first, if we examine what God wants in our lives, what He wants for us and wants for us to be for other people, if we keep that at the center of everything that we do, we keep Him at the center of all of the decisions that we make in our life, what we say yes to, what we say no to, who we surround ourselves with, if we keep Him at the center of all of that, anything is possible, including balance. Everything that you want can be possible by putting Him first. Like he just moves mountains. Like I can't even describe it in a word that would make it sound odd. But if you've had a personal encounter with Jesus, if you have been in those situations where He has brought joy in periods of sadness, where He has brought miracles, or He's changed your heart to make you not want the things that you used to want, but only want the things that are after Him, then you know that when you have God at the center, when you just seek Him above all else, everything is given to you. Everything is given to you. It's a promise. Anyway, sorry, I digress. That's number one, right? Number two is having that community, being able to pray for other people. When you're able to walk in life with other people and see what they're experiencing and hear their struggles, hear their joys, and share that with them, our problems can seem so small. And when you have other people who are praying for you, you are becoming so strong and so mighty than we could ever do on our own. So community is so important for us. And then, of course, number three and the last pillar is those systems, finding the systems, creating the habits, doing the things that are actually going to set you up for success, the things that make life easier for you. When you have habits in your life and you have developed positive systems to help you do things, you have to make less decisions in your day. Like my morning routine is set. I don't have to wake up and think, oh, what am I going to do today? It's done for me. It's set. And when you go through the Life Balance course, when you upgrade in your app, you'll have access to the morning planning course and the morning planning tool. The morning planning tool literally will send notifications saying, this is what time it is. This is what you're supposed to be doing right now, because it's that physical reminder as you're building a habit. Now, you don't have to have that on forever. You can turn it off, but to have that reminder of, oh yeah, this is what I set the intention to do right now in my day. As you're setting that habit, it becomes like this way that you are designing the way that you want your life to go, that you're designing the way you want your day to go. And it's all in there for you. So if you're looking for those systems, if you're looking for how to create those habits, if you're looking for how to control your mindset around balance, then I highly encourage you to go and you get the Life Balance course inside that. And I know that sounds like an ad. It kind of is. It kind of is. I mean, I designed it for a purpose. And if you are needing that, then I designed it for you. I totally designed it for you. So reach out if you have any questions, any prayer requests. I'm always here for you. Always here for you. And if you already have the app, I would love it if you would leave a review in the App Store. It's so super easy to do. It's way easier to leave a review for the app than it is to leave a review for the podcast. So if you can do that, it would mean the world. Because without reviews, the App Store keeps it hidden from other people inside of the App Store. So we want to spread the word that balance is possible to as many working mamas as we can. So when you do that, it really certainly helps. I hope that what we talked about on this episode was helpful for you and putting some things together for your life as you start to move things forward. And next week, we will be back with another great guest for you to learn from. So until next week, keep building a life that rocks. Bye.